Hello, fellow compatriots, and welcome to Journey in the Drifts. This is your host, Tribushan here, and I thought since we are starting up this series up again, I thought it would be appropriate to go ahead and dive deep into some fun trivia factoids, but also dive deep into, something fun and interesting, a little thing that has been in the back of my mind for a while. If you like this style of videos, why not give it a like? And of course, if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe. But without any further ado, let us begin. 24 sets, lasting from 1999 to 2002, and probably the most overlooked element within LEGO Technic. This is your host, Tribushan here, and we are of course talking about part number 32165. Now, if you have followed me on the web for a while, I have had a lot of leniency towards vintage LEGO. And no, not just Bionicle, but we will be talking about the latter, believe me. Yet, to fully dive deep into what is part number 32165, we have to first dive into its origins and how it came to be. In the 1990s, LEGO was starting to financially struggle, and thus experimented in several different avenues, from changing their building system entirely with LEGO Snap from 1998, which was to ride the successful climb of K'NEX, whose toyland was booming with prominence since their debut in 1992, to action figures inspired by other IPs, or intellectual properties, at the time. The first true action figure that LEGO has done came in 1993 with set number 8714-1, the LEGO Technic team. I always really liked the designs of these figures during their short run, and their squarish designs followed by the additional points of articulation really felt like the next evolution to the minifigure for the time. Please, LEGO, I would like more articulated blocky figures. I cannot be the only one that thinks this, especially how much we have been aiming for hyper accuracy with recent license holder sets. I mean, just look at these custom Star Wars models that I found on the Brothers Brick website. They look phenomenal. Like the Darth Vader and the Han Solo, come on, LEGO. Now, yes, some may say that the scale of everything will increase if biddable figures became more standard in playsets. However, if they were just shrunken down and used a lot of mixel joints and hinges, maybe not. Of which we did get a taste of more hyperrealism with dolls within the Belleville sets in 1998. Something that wouldn't be the last by just a few years later. Yet, with all these runs of sub-themes, LEGO has been desperate to see what would stick during their financial crisis, even themes that would never see the light of day, which is honestly a shame, as a lot of imagery and factoids that have been lost to time over the years. There have been so many designers involved that led to the natural evolution of what would become part number 32165. The one moment where I really wish I had a time cruiser. As I remember seeing in a few places online referencing the hiring of new interns and toy designers during the time when LEGO was also laying off so many employees as well. Honestly, a reflection of out with the old and in with the new during the time of desperation. Now, there are single sources that discuss topics like this era, like Project Genesis to the Concepts Labs, where designers had to introduce fresh new ideas to help climb out of the hole that LEGO was in at the time. If you'd like to learn more about the history of that, let me know. It would give me more confidence in doing the intensive research for that, including pulling out multiple sources. As mentioned before, I am always fascinated by the inner workings of most things. Yet, all that experimentation in the background dawned a new line of toys called Throwbots if you were in the US, but called Slicer everywhere else. I never grew up with these toys upon their release in 1999. I was still too young at the time. But since I was raised with a lot of older media compared to the rest of my generation, I personally love this era of toys in general. The amount of grit and perseverance radiating from the Throwbots line as a whole makes up for their relatively small stature. At first glance, from just looking at them isolated from everything else, the amount of detail crammed in a single piece would make any Diaclone figure blush. And yeah, one of these sets has metallic paint as well, that being set number 8520-1 Millennium, or Millennia if you lived in the US. He was also the first Titan ever made by LEGO for constructible action figures as a whole. Millennium is honestly one of my favorites, and I am one of the few likes his Titan form more, it seems. People may call him awkward, but I think if you know how to pose this model, you will find it very fun to play with. Each Throwbot comes with a disc that can be hurled at either enemy Throwbots or into their designated canister that is tucked inside every box, as seen on store shelves at the time of release. Each of the canisters can hold each disc, no matter what power level they might have. Though, what many may not realize is the power contained within the design of their heads. Though Bricklink refers to them as Technic Block 3 by 6 by 1 2/3, I called them heads for good reason and not skulls. People within Bionicle-leaning groups are quick to state that these characters wear masks, mainly due to the nature of their modularity. Yet, their visage can also be adorned with visors, as seen from those early Technic action figures from 1993, including that of clear windshield light with set number 8507-1 Electro, implying there is more at play than meets the eye. And no, I'm not talking about their ability to fold themselves up. If we take a look at set number 8506-1 Granite, the best Throwbot in my very biased opinion, and examine carefully that head, there is a slight oddity in the sculpt on either side of the head. Looking at it from a direct side profile, he looks like he is gritting his teeth, with both the shape of both the angularity of the lips/borders to the slanted vertical lines within. Not only that, but if we flip that visor, we can see two sunken-in eyes, as if he is ready to break any foundation in his wake. But a perspective from afar lends to a more whimsical creature, trying its best to break borders with their little picks, whereas the other visor wearer, known as set number 8501-1 Ski, makes use of the same detailing as before with the mouth detailing, but instead of their character design and colors lending to him looking as though they have vents instead of gritting their teeth while shredding that snow. But I wouldn't judge if you think the prior is also true. Speaking of judge, set number 8504-1 Jet features a printed face. Now, this might turn a few heads for what I am about to say. The face prints become the new default for how the character looks, and is not a separate object that grants the ability to disguise or gain special powers. Jet's face naturally looks like that, as it depicts a new mouth design, asymmetrical eyes, with one being multiple lenses, to the other base color of the part being yellow to match with their primary color. Not only that, but set number 8504 5-1, Amazon does something similar as well, with tubes mimicking long eyebrows that complements their more feral qualities of their face. Heck, even Blaster from the second wave has both their faces merging, implying they really are a mutated monstrosity of both characters fused together. And that is only the beginning of part number 32165's many abilities. Like, did I forget to mention it not only has one Technic to system connection, but rather two? Just beneath it lies an anti-stud connections, one just beneath the chin and the other at the base of the head, creating a 2x4 footprint that needs some extra work before you can connect a 2x4 brick or plate onto it. Though I suppose nowadays you could probably make use of jumpers or even part number 925293. The anti-stud connection is something that I think about often, as out of all 24 sets, only one uses the anti-stud connection under the chin, that being Scuba from Throwbots, and they only really use half of all the connection points available for anti-stud connections. Not a single set uses the other two. So I am here to propose an idea to showcase some love for part number 32165. If you are interested, I would like you all to make a mock that uses these anti-stud connections in the style of the sets that feature it from 1999 to 2002. And if you post your creations on my Discord server, I will be sure to showcase them in a future video. Well, thank you all for joining in with me into this blast from the past. I honestly really like this piece for how flexible it can be in the multiple ways it was utilized. Even how it was used for a crane claw in set number 8446. I love crane trucks so much, from their multiple wheels, elongated design, and practically being a mobile crane that can just pick up almost anything. Oh man, I should probably stop before I go on another rant. Happy building and play well, everyone. I will see you all next time on a familiar Golden Beach. Bye, guys. And and thank you for traveling with me through the drifts.